Hi guys. So I want to briefly comment on the whole Gypsy Rose Blanchard situation. Mainly the recent changes in her life that have apparently turned the media and a fair bit of the public against her. If you want a more detailed video on Gypsy Rose, I made one a while ago, but you can find it here. So let me start by asking you a question. Do you think it's healthy for anyone, let alone someone who spent the majority of their formative years living with an abuser and a decent portion of their young adult life behind bars? Do you think it's healthy for anyone, let alone someone like this, to have such a huge amount of fame and notoriety thrust upon them all of a sudden? If we're being completely honest, this is a person whose life was literally screwed over by her mother from the very beginning, from her childhood. Then she spent a considerable amount of her young adult life behind bars, which is also not normal. And now she gets out, and immediately there's paparazzi following her everywhere, cameras in her face, people dragging her to interviews and podcasts and all sorts of events. Let me put this into perspective. If you, and I assume you are a more or less adjusted individual, part of society, if you woke up one day and had 7 million followers on Instagram and a couple million on other social media, if you became famous essentially overnight, how do you think you would cope with that? Would it be easy for you to adjust to it and just accept it? Or would it take some time and would it come with a couple of challenges? Okay, now imagine someone who isn't even a well-adjusted individual to the society, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's just objectively true. Gypsy Rose, frankly, hasn't had a single second to experience a normal, average, everyday life that most of us are used to. As a child, she was abused and pretty much imprisoned by her mother, physically and mentally, and as an adult, she was behind bars, so imprisoned by the system. Now, I'm not a psychologist, I'm just a linguist, but let's stop pretending that you need much more than common sense to know that what this woman needs is the opposite of what she's getting. She needs privacy, most likely therapy, and a strong support system that's going to help her adjust to a normal life. Not cameras in her face, tracking her every move, and media vultures commenting on everything she does. It really does infuriate me because this woman is treated like a public spectacle. It doesn't matter what she does, so long as it's entertaining and attention-grabbing. And this is frankly not that different from how pretty much every celebrity is treated. But in Gypsy Rose's case, I think it's so much more jarring and apparent. Firstly, because she rose to fame because she was a victim. That was her ticket to fame, being a victim. Firstly, she was a victim of her mother's abuse, and then secondly, perceived victim of the system. And now she's not a victim anymore, or gradually becoming other things than just a victim, and people are realizing that she may be other things too besides being a victim, and so now the tide is turning against her. What a mirror to society that puts, right? Okay, let's remember, she is above all an abuse victim, but we could definitely make an argument that she's an abuser herself. For example, in regards to how she manipulated Nicholas Godejohn. And, does anyone have to earn their fame through something positive? No, there's a bunch of people who are famous for doing dumb stuff. It comes across as so strange to have someone become a celebrity because, not because they did anything, whether that's positive or negative. I mean, she did do something negative, but she was a victim of something negative too, so I guess that cancels itself out in people's minds. It's a weird situation, let's just put it like that. And I think absolutely she has a potential to do something positive. There's a lot she can contribute through her experience, as horrible as it was. And to be fair, yeah, she hasn't really had the chance to earn her fame through something positive because it was just thrust upon her. Somehow, society just decided, you're a victim and you have a sensational story, and we want to keep telling and milking your story until there is not a single drop left and you've become a villain of your own story. I'm not even really gonna comment on Gypsy Rose, divorcing her husband and being seen in public, getting matching tattoos with her ex and getting plastic surgery and whatnot. It really feels like a circus, a live circus that we're all witnessing, and I hate it. And I can't really avoid it. It's very difficult to avoid it. That's why I'm venting about it, because I don't want to be exposed to it, but also being part of social media, like, I see something related to the news whether I want it or not. If you've seen my first video, you'll know that I'm not particularly fond of her. I don't have a reason to like or dislike Gypsy Rose, but based on what I've heard and read about her and her life, let's put it this way, I would be cautious if I knew this woman and had anything to do with her. I do believe that she may have some not so positive traits as a result of her unfortunately very horrific upbringing, but look, I have a lot of sympathy for what is happening to her in regards to how the media and the public is treating her. And the worst thing is, Gypsy Rose's mom, Dee Dee, she fed off that media attention that she was receiving. I think it's not possible that Gypsy Rose picked up on some of those patterns. Now she's getting media attention for the positive and negative things that she does. And I ask you again, do you think this is healthy? Or is it just encouraging the negative old patterns that she may have? It really does infuriate me how people, just regular people on social media, want this woman to be something that they've envisioned, that they have projected onto her. And when she inevitably fails to be all that they imagine or want her to be, they have the gall to criticize her, as if she owes them to be what they envisioned her to be. Have we learned nothing from countless celebrities who have had pretty public falls from grace because they stopped being the idealized version of not what they were necessarily, but what was projected onto them in the first place? Why can't we give Gypsy Rose time and space to adjust to a life, a normal, regular, plain old life, before we start following her around with, cameras and requests to appear on every single podcast under the sun and to share her story again and again and again? Honestly, maybe some people just want to see the world burn and they're just waiting for her to do something even more scandalous. They wouldn't mind if she did something really, really bad, because the more scandalous, the better, right? It makes for a better story. You just can't wait for her to fail. Some people just feed off sensationalism and like to have something to be outraged about. Sorry to end this on a slightly sour note, but yeah, I did want to comment on this because it has been on my feed constantly for the past couple of days and I can't shake it off, so I might as well vent about it. And I would love to hear your thoughts on this as well in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you soon in another video. Take care, guys. Okie dokie.